All right, everybody, it looks like we are good to go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are live with me. This is a live broadcast. This is the first time of a new series that we have in our Monday night training. So typically, we're doing a webinar format only, which would be just slides. So today, we're going to switch things up, and we're going to kind of mix it in between some slides and some live video. And for tonight's training, we believe that we need to get the dry erase board out to really communicate just exactly what it is that we're talking about. So you saw the bold headline said, the essential action for growing your business. The essential action for growing your business. And you might say, well, what is that? Well, number one is talking to people, but on a more technical manner, what we're going to share with you tonight can take you from maybe having a stagnant business, maybe having a low in your business, to having some momentum. Because tonight we have people that are on this training that are brand new distributors. Maybe you just signed up and you're looking to get to advisor and build a business. We have advisors who are trying to get to that silver level, that $1,000 a month level or more. And then we have people who are silver pin level or more who are looking to gain some team momentum, go to the next pin level, or maybe lock in the income/pin level that you're at tonight. So I appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. My name is Greg Smith. I'm a diamond distributor. My wife Stephanie is hiding out in the other end of the home, so you can see here just outside are the windows. So we set this up live in the living room with a webcam. So I really hope this helps out. I know that for me, it's different than being hidden behind a a computer screen. So I got to look at a camera and talk to you. And so tonight, just know that this specific concept, this specific training, I know I was talking to Matt Warren, we were coming up with what the subject should be, and he specifically said that when he heard Danny McDaniel train on this specific thing, it's what took he and Amber's business from a silver income, which is about $1,000 a month, up to a ruby income, which is anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 per month within 1 calendar year. So how would you like to go from $1,000 a month to $5,000 to $8,000 a month just within 12 months? I know Matt then passed that information on to us when Stephanie and I joined this business, and I know when I actually grasped the concept and took hold and actually utilized it, it's what took us from a silver income to Emerald 9-star. Back in 2009 to 2010, within 11 months, we went from $1,000 a month to $25,000 a month, and it's really been the base for all of the leaders that are on our team, and ultimately the Warren's team as well. They have 5 diamond separate legs, 5 separate legs that are diamond or more, and I really believe it comes down to what we're going to share with you tonight. So I want to challenge you to shut the phone off, make it silent. If you're like me, I know I've been guilty of having the Facebook feed scrolling out as I'm watching the webinar. So if you have that, go ahead and X that right now. Hopefully you have a pen and paper to where you can jot down some notes and come back to this in the future and hopefully utilize this game plan, because it involves a lot of writing that I'm going to go through. And before the end of tonight, before this training is over, I'm going to give you a 3-step action plan for moving your business forward. So what is the essential activity that we must do to grow our business? What it is getting people to advisor, helping other people get to a higher discount level, helping other people get to a higher discount level. It may seem really, really simple, but I'm here to tell you it took me a while to really grasp helping other people and then getting them to a higher discount level. Because when I first started, all I really wanted was somebody to sign up so that I could ultimately get some commission from that. And in the end, throughout my first year, without helping other people truly and genuinely get to that next discount level, came back and bit me in the rear end, because we were silver distributors, we had 2 rookie bonus earned, we had 2 all expenses paid trips earned, we had hit gold a few times, and we had a couple we had one $0 paycheck surrounded by some smaller checks a year into our business, and it's because I was not utilizing this properly. And then I learned how to do it. So we want to help people get to a higher discount. So the very first thing as you can see my Wheel of Fortune up here, the very first thing we must have and we must know is in order to build a business, a real business that is going to pay you over and over and over again, we have to have the right mindset. So our mindset must be of helping other people get to the next discount. We have to just be on the alert all the time. If you are a distributor who has a team, we have to always be looking at who's the next person we can help get to that next discount. And if you're brand new, the very first thing we want to do is get some people on our team, get some retail customers, some wholesale customers, but then we have to be in the mindset that in the end, we want to help them progress to that higher discount, because that's what it really takes to build a large distributorship over Advocare. And I want to tell you a saying that Matt shared with me for a long time. It was something that resonated with him in his life when he first heard it in Advocare, because one of the questions I get today is, how many people do you have? How many people do you have? Quite frankly, I don't know. But here's what I do know. This business takes a whole lot of people using a little bit of product. So a whole lot of people using a little bit of product with a few key business builders sprinkled in between. A whole lot of people using a little bit of product with a few key business builders sprinkled in between. And that can pay you beyond your wildest dreams. I know if you have a leader and you were to ask them, how many people do you have that are making over $10,000 per month? It doesn't take many to help get to that level to have the type of income that some of your diamond leaders have. What it does take, though, is a lot of people using a little bit of product. And the way to get to a lot of people is going to be through this system that I draw out and design today, because it is through an architectural plan that is going to get you to where you want to go. And so we have to know what that plan is. But we have to be of the mindset that it is our job to inform and educate the people that we are helping through Advocare on what their different options are. So the higher discount being the 40%. We want everybody to know that. So we're going to move through. I'm going to switch to a screen, and the first thing I want you to know is just what Advisor is. You might be on here tonight, you might not actually know what it takes to get to Advisor. So if you're one of those people, I want to spell it out real quick. If you're one of those people that already knows, then what I want to do is spell out the benefits of Advisor and how we talk about that. So let's switch over to the screen here. Hopefully, let's make sure. Yes, perfect. Okay. Becoming an advisor. So you should be seeing my screen now. Getting to Advisor, the initial investment is $2,100. Now, this is if somebody were to invest their way directly to Advisor as opposed to working their way there. Now, we are in the mindset that any way that somebody does it, it really doesn't matter as long as they do it. And now, some people, don't get me wrong, some people are going to be completely content and happy with being a retail customer of yours. We love retail customers. Some people are going to be completely content. You know, I have a lady named Donna who ever since 2008 has been at the 30% discount level. She buys an extraordinary amount of product every single month, if not every 2 weeks. And I've had the conversation with her about a 40%. She just doesn't mind. She's happy with her 30%. So that's okay. But what we want to do is make sure that we're going through and giving everybody options and letting them know that there's a 40% and letting them decide if they want to pursue that or not. Far too often, we as distributors make that decision for them. Now, that's deep, because subconsciously, if you've ever said, I don't think they would be interested in that, or, oh, Susie doesn't have the money for Advisor, so let's just talk about, you know, the $79 to her. That's making the decision for somebody. Our job and our mindset should be of education, informing, letting that person know the benefits of Advisor. And so right here it shows. What are some of the benefits? Well, number one is we will literally save that person money at entering straight at the advisor level as opposed to working your way there. That is mathematically true. No matter how you write out working your way there, you will always save money by going directly to advisor. You receive a better discount immediately. You get that 40% immediately after that purchase, which also means that you're going to earn a higher profit margin on the work that you do. So if somebody's brand new, they say, I don't have a lot of time. I say, well, more importantly, than ever, we need to get you to that 40%. That way, we're earning the most amount of income that we can on the work that you're putting forward. Because what we do know is that it takes the same amount of effort to sell a 24-day challenge at 20%, if you're at the 20% discount, as it does if you're at the 40% discount. But the difference is how much do you earn on that particular transaction. So we want to get to that 40%. Very specifically, if we're going to be working the business with somebody and they want to earn any type of income, even just enough money to pay for their own product, well, little benefit. If they just want enough money to pay for their own product, if they're getting a 40% discount on the product, then we know that they need less money than they would if they were buying it retail, or they need less money to pay for their monthly product if they were buying it at a 20%. So benefit number one to a product user is the highest discount possible on their product. And I can tell you, somebody like Donna that I gave the example before, although she's at a 30%, she's much happier purchasing at a 30% discount over the last 6 years than she would be if she was paying full retail price. I can guarantee you that, and she's guaranteed me that. So product users, it's very simple. We have people that go to a 40% all the time just to save the most money. But as a business, it maximizes our profit margins. It opens up all 5 ways that we get paid. It also gives you some inventory to get started. I'll give you a few examples of that. And one thing too, as we note, is all unopened products and unused products are, as long as they're in a resellable fashion or condition, and you resign your distributorship, Advocare will give you your money back for what those products were that consisted within that advisor order. So I know for me, my money was much better in product than it was sitting in my savings account, because my savings account wasn't earning too much interest, and it's still not earning too much interest. But I know that my $2,100 investment back in 2007 has almost paid us $2 million from our house, and I have not found any other opportunity in the world that can do that. So I'm very thankful that Matt was strong with me, and he had a great mindset about that 40% discount. Okay, so moving to this next thing here. So, one is I'll ask somebody if that's something they can do if I'm meeting with them, even, if somebody says that they want to lose 50 pounds. Well, I know if somebody wants to lose 50 pounds, unless they're Mark Mueller, it's going to take them longer than 24 days. So an advisor order really is a commitment. I heard this from Brock Meadows a while back, maybe back in 2009, and he was like, it's a commitment and it's an investment into their health and their well-being. And I really took that to heart, because I believe that it is. And I know that it's in somebody's best interest to buy that amount of product up front, because it commits them mentally and also saves them the most money on that product. So it just makes sense. But if somebody can't do advisor from the very beginning, then what we do is we show them all the options. And we say, hey, let's talk about what we can do today. Let's talk about how we can move forward. And so we might go down to that 1,500 level, which is 30%. And I might say, hey, is that something you could do if you wanted to? They say yes. I say, great. It takes about 5-10 minutes on the computer. I'm going to help you put the order together. Is that something you'd like to do today? So I ask them again. I put the ball in their court. I let them make the decision. I don't push, but I inform. It's a difference in between pushing and informing and educating and helping guide and direct. I look at it as I'm the conductor of the train, and I am guiding that train in the right direction, being that person towards whatever it is they told me, whatever destination it is that they want to go to. I guide them and I direct them there, and I give them the best possible way to do it. So let's say somebody can't do that. I go down to the 500 retail, which is $375 out of pocket, and I say, look, is that something you could do if you wanted to? That's about 2 24-day challenges, extra canister of Spark, and maybe a box of Spark. Get you over that 500 retail mark. Now, it's very important. I was doing a Saturday training last week, and I drew this out. And I think it's very important to really, really, really understand all of the different discount levels, because far too many times I'll see somebody enroll for $480 or $470, and I know because I'm in the mindset. This is why I want to really hammer that mindset. I'm in the mindset of helping somebody get to the higher discount. So when I see that, I immediately will call and try to rectify the situation, because if somebody would have just bumped over the 500, they would have actually spent less money on that entire order, and they would have gotten that 25% discount. And then obviously we have that 20% is the last one. So let me flip back to the screen here. All right, perfect. Let me get you live. All right, we should be back live. Great. So here's what we want to do. Next thing here is we want to seed plant. Oops. We want to seed plant when we get somebody started, because not everybody is going to start at a 40% discount, and that's okay. And it's actually the person who's of the right mindset and the person who seed plants and vision paints to that product user that, hey, you're going to start getting great results. People are going to start noticing. I'm telling you what, you're going to feel amazing. After you start feeling how these products make you feel, you're going to feel that good for the rest of your life. And when that time comes around, we're going to want to have a conversation on how we can get you a 40% discount. I planted that seed. I painted vision for people seeing their results. I painted vision for people who are going to literally ask them, what are you doing, Susie? You look amazing. How did you lose 20 pounds in the last 30 days? Well, if I plant the seed that that's going to happen, and I vision paint that we're going to want to talk about how to get a 40% discount, you might end up using the product, Susie, and getting great results. If it's something you want to continue on, I'm pretty sure it will be. If you use these products the way they're supposed to be used, you're going to feel amazing. After that starts happening, we should have a conversation on how you can just refer some people. We'll get you set up, and you could probably earn enough money at least to get your own products paid for and get the highest discount possible on those products, which is 40%. See, I will do that at a meeting. I'll give an example. Michael Pitroff. I had a meeting with Michael Pitroff originally, and it was him and his wife. And his wife actually dragged him to this little cafe. He didn't want to be there. Long story short, she wanted him to lose weight. He comes, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, man, you know, long story short, I get him on products. And I painted the vision. I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. You can earn some extra income with it. But if you're just looking for product results, I'd love to help you with just that. But if you're going to use the products in the future, we should talk about how to get you a 40% if that's not where you're at right now. Now, he was like 5 days in, starts to get great results. He literally calls me up and he's like, hey, man, you said something about making money. I'm like, yes, I did. And he's like, we need to meet. Comes over to my house. We get him up to we ended up working his way to a 40%, which I'll illustrate what that looks like. And now he's a solid silver distributor with anywhere from $200 to $300 in override every single pay period. He's been able to quit that part-time job that he was doing, keeping him away from his 4 kids. Okay, and so this is a guy who had the time excuse. He's got a full-time job, and that's why it was very important that I planted the seed and I vision painted to get him up to that 40% to save the most and ultimately earn the most when he started sharing it with other people. So after we have this down and we understand that our job is to, if you're a new distributor right now and you are on this and you're like, okay, I want to get to $1,000 a month. How do I get to $1,000 a month? Well, we go out there and we get some people on the products. After we look for a few people, your few pals that we can talk to about the business, okay? And we help them move up to a higher discount. We start getting those product users results, and then as we go through, we've already painted the vision. We've already planted the seed for that discount. They're getting great results. You're following up correctly, and you're saying, hey, who else do you know that would like to feel as good as you do? I want to help you get up to that highest discount level. Is that something that interests you? Hey, Susie, I know you're really loving the products. We're on day 12. You're feeling amazing. You're down 7 pounds. We should really have a conversation on how to get you that 40% discount. Is that something that interests you? And so I ask her. Now, some people, it might not interest them, and that's okay. But my job is to at least ask the question and then let them respond. Now, I can tell you throughout my last 7 years, I haven't had too many people, realistically, maybe 1 out of 10 that says no to that question. Most people will entertain the thought of, yes, how do I get a 40% discount? And then I talk to them very strongly. I say, look, what if I could show you a way to save $900 on your products over the next 6 months? That's what we're talking about here. And so then I go over, it's $2,100 for the investment. We get to pick and choose the products. It's $3,000 retail dollars of products, which is a $900 savings. Even if you never share the products, we're going to save you $900 right now on those products. How's that sound? And that's usually something that will interest somebody if you and me can ultimately clearly define what those benefits are and why that would make sense to them. So the next thing we have to do is take action, and that's what we're going to talk about, is how that action works. All right. So let's first talk about how we can work our way to advisor. I think we've talked about very clearly how we can invest our way there, but it's the person who succeeds here for a long time. And I know Matt was talking about when he heard it from Diane and Danny, which arguably have one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic, distributorship in all of AdvoCare. They are, clearly the #1 income earners in all of AdvoCare. So what they do, we obviously want to model. It's knowing not just how to sign people up straight to advisor, okay, but it's knowing how to work them to advisor, and that is what's going to pay somebody over the long haul. Because one way that we can measure our progress, if you've ever been caught saying, like I have, my people aren't doing anything, I've said that. #1, they're not my people. They're distributors on my team who I'm helping, so I don't own them. But #2 is typically when I say that, if I'm realistic with myself, which I have been now, so I don't say that anymore, I've learned that it's actually not them, it's me. I'm not leading from the front. I'm not taking action. I'm not doing this. I'm not digging down, helping them and demonstrating to them. So it's very important to do that. And this is an art form that once this is mastered, you can succeed big time here. And it's the leaders who know how to move people forward, how to get that ball down the field. And that's what we're looking here. So one way that you can measure momentum is knowing how many distributors are in your organization working their way to advisor. Hopefully, it's growing every pay period. So it may just be you right now. But hopefully next pay period, it's you and a friend. And the next pay period, hopefully it's you and a friend and 2 other people. And if you do it right, you can multiply that over and over again. And that's what we want to do. I'm going to illustrate how that works here. So first thing we have to know is, what does it take to get to advisor? Well, if you work your way there, AdvoCare gives you 3 pay periods to accumulate this $3,000 retail. So instead of investing $2,100 and getting $3,000 of product, AdvoCare gives you 3 pay periods to accrue that same dollar amount. Okay? Now, one rule that I want you to write down is that within any given pay period, before that is complete, before this is accrued completely, we must have $500 of personal volume. We'll abbreviate PV for short. Not sure if, yeah, I think it gets a little lighter up here, but it says 500 PV, personal volume. That's your purchase and anybody else's purchase that is retail or not at the advisor level, and it's under $500 for them. Okay, under $500 for them, goes towards your PV. Once they go over that, it goes towards your group volume, which goes towards this. Just know that this is probably the only thing that you really have to study to understand, and I encourage you to do that. But just know that when it all comes down to it, we need to accumulate 3,000 retail dollars. So that might look like this. You might invest at the 500 retail level, which is a great place to start when you want to work your way to advisor. Then you might go out and get a friend within that same pay period who does the same thing, and they get somebody who does 250. 250 is usually a distributorship plus a 24-day challenge. At this point, you would have 1,250 knocked off that 3,000. Now, if you were working with me and we went into this pay period, I would paint the vision and I would seed plant that there's no reason we really need to go into this third pay period. That's kind of here. That's just kind of there as insurance. What we really want to do, if we can do 1,250 in the first pay period, there's no reason we can't finish that 1,750 out this pay period through working through some of those people. So I want to give some stories of how that's applied to my business, hopefully illustrate how this really works and put it all together. Then we'll wrap this up within about the next 8 minutes. So I wrote down a few examples just so I could stay on track. Now I'll give you one example here. I remember, I'll just use fake names but real people. I remember I met this guy and he ended up investing straight to advisor. His name's Trent. And Trent ends up introducing me to this guy named David. And David ends up starting on the products, and I say, and he ultimately had, it was like 350 his first pay period. And by the time the pay period was coming to an end, he was getting great results, and I called him up and I said, hey David, I know you're loving the products. Have you considered looking into getting a higher discount? He says, well, how high of a discount can I get? And I said, it's a 40%. He says, well, how do I get that? I said, well, there's two ways. And I let him know that we could invest the difference right now, or we can at least bump this up to 500 to start the process. And this is what he chose to do. Now, I then took action and I scheduled a meeting in their area. And I met this guy named Chad. And so Chad ends up getting started on the products through David. And through this time, David ended up coming to the conclusion that he had got great results and he was going to use products for life. And he basically just said, hey, you know what? I don't care if I ever get a person on my team or not. We're just going to finish this out. And he did. Okay, so now he's an advisor. But he introduced me to Chad on a product level. Chad kind of does the same thing, starts on product. Throughout meeting Chad, I asked Chad, are you interested in getting a higher discount? He says, yes, how's it work? I said, look, do you have some people who would like to feel as good as you do? He says, absolutely. I said, here's what we're going to do, and this is an action step. Number one, to kind of lay it out, I'm in the mindset, number one, is I'm in the mindset of looking for people who I can help get a higher discount. Two, that's why, since I'm in the mindset, I'm constantly seed planting and vision painting about that higher discount. So three is I start to reap the reward because I'm following up with some people and I've planted the seed of higher discount. I'm informing and educating them about their options. They say, yes, I would love to know how to get a higher discount. After I explain it to them, then I take action. And the first action step I do is one of two things, and I kind of do it both together. I'll put an impending event on the calendar. So what I like to do personally is if it's a Thursday before a pay period closes and I'm making the calls and I'm working some people into a higher discount, I'm educating them and helping them, I'll have a mixer that Monday night. I'll say, hey, good news. I'm having a mixer on Monday night, so if you know some people that like to feel as good as you do and you want to bump up to that 40%, all you got to do is bring them to my house on Monday. They're going to hear some great stories, and I'm going to share AdvoCare with them just like I shared it with you. Can you do that? They're like, yeah, absolutely. At the same time, I might say, Chad, who's the number one person that you can think of right now that we can talk to within the next 24 and 48 hours? He lets me know. We start working. So this is kind of how it plays out. Give an example of one group that I'm working with right now. So let's say this is Greg. I enrolled Eric. Now, Eric he's been in my organization years back. He originally invested straight to advisor. And at that point in his life, things just really, they weren't meshing. It wasn't the right timing. He ended up using the product, loves the product, but never did anything with the business. So he let his distributorship relapse. Came back around a couple years later, says, Greg, I want to get back involved, except I don't want to invest straight to advisor. I said, well, that's fine, Eric. I said, I would love to help you work your way there. I said, because in reality, if we can work our way to advisor, then I know you can succeed at this business. Because if somebody starts at advisor or they work their way there, the action step is still the same. Putting something on the calendar immediately, either if that's a mixer at your house or that's a mixer at their house. I like to do it at my house when somebody's more of a casual person. Let me actually explain that. So if I have somebody who's a product user and I recommend getting to the 40%, they're a casualist, it's much easier for them to bring somebody to my house for my mixer than it is for them to have to clean their house, set up their house, and have people over to their house. Okay? So I create the environment. I create it. I take responsibility for that. I create the environment that they can plug into, makes it easier. Once I get them some success and I get them paid, then I can move into their home. That's my philosophy. Okay? Now, you can do it either way. Book it at their house, book it at your house. If it's somebody who comes in and they're business focused, I'll immediately go to their house. That's where I say, hey, look, if you want to do this right, what are you doing Friday night? They say nothing. Why? I say, great, you're having a mixer. Let's see who we can get there. And we do it at their house because they're business focused. But if they're a casualist, it's easier for me to create the environment, have it at my house, and they can just plug and play. And that's why it's very important, as a side note and a separate training issue, is to always have an impending event on the calendar. And if you don't have one, make it up when you get somebody say, oh, this is such a good thing. We have a mixer on Thursday night. You might not have had a mixer going on Thursday night, but now you do because you got some momentum. So let's go back to Eric. Eric enrolled at the 500 level, and he said he basically was like, look, man, I don't want to have to spend a lot of money to get to advisor. How can we do this? I said, well, who's the number one person that you know that would like to do this as a business? And he introduces me to a gal named Jen. Now, Jen saw the business from the very beginning. And so Jen says, what do I got to do? And I say, well, how many people do you think you can get on the 24-day challenge, including yourself right now? And she's like, well, I got at least 4, include me and at least 3 others. I said, okay, well, we're almost at the 30% discount. Can you think of anybody else? She's like, I think I can. I said, great. Here's what I would suggest. And she's like, okay, I can do that. And she stretched a little. She bought a little more than what she thought she could sell, but she trusted me. And she knew that ultimately if she wanted to get the higher discount, that was the way it was going to go. So she comes in at $1,500 retail. She sells every single thing except for her own product use. Okay? At the same time, she introduces me to Nick and Tom. Tom does 200. Nick does 200. I called Jen. I said, Jen, you just made 20 bucks. Jen, you just made $20 more. You just made 40 bucks within your first 2 days. How's that? And she's like, that's awesome. So now Jen has And so does Eric. So let's go back to Eric. Eric has 500. Jen added 1,500 to that. Okay, so Eric now has 2,000 towards his 3. This was all within about 4 days. So I'll show an example of one pay period and then multiple. Jen bumps him up. Now he's got 2,000 towards his 3,000. Eric bumped up to 30% because of that. Tom and Nick come in. It's 200 more each. So now Eric has 2,400. Jen has 1,900. Comes down to Tuesday night. I'm in the mindset I want to help Jen get to a higher discount. She's told me she wants the higher discount. I said, Jen, you sold all this product, right? She's like, yeah, I did. I said, can I give you some input? She says, yes. I said, the smart business thing to do, since you already invested that once and you've recouped it, would be to reinvest it, make up the difference from your 1,900 to the 3,000, and get yourself up to that 30%. So she does. In doing so, you have the 1,100 plus 1,500 and the 400. This is 3,000. Eric has 500 of personal volume, which we originally talked about. Eric gets to advisor, and so does Jen. And it was all because Eric got to advisor by just introducing me to one person who really got the business. Now, moving into the next pay period with this same group, I'm working with Jen. So I have Eric, and then I have Jen. I'm of the mindset that I'm helping other people get to a higher discount. Nick originally started at 200 because he just wanted to use products, but I painted and I planted a seed. He comes back to me the next pay period. He says, hey, how do I get that higher discount? I want to start making some money. We ended up bumping him up to 500 that next pay period. Now, Jen's already an advisor. So Jen ends up making 15% on that. So she ends up making $75 on this order. So I'm getting her paid immediately. We're taking action. She introduces me to Tiff. Tiff enrolls. Took her a little bit. Tiff said, I want to make sure I got people that'll do this if I enroll. And so she ends up enrolling for like $800 retail. I then talk with her. And hey, end of the pay period's coming up. I'm like, hey, are you interested in getting a 30%? She's like, yeah, what do I need to do? I told her it's 700 more retail dollars. She says, done. She does it. So Tiff now is at 1,500. We're now in the second pay period right now. Jen has another 800 already within this pay period because we went out and got a few more people. Okay. Now you can see what I want to illustrate with this is I am down here helping as a leader. I'm helping them move up in discount, and in doing so, I am getting Jen paid and I'm getting Eric paid. And in this case, I'm getting Tiff paid as she's getting some wholesale customers and retail customers. And same thing with Nick. Nick also has some retail customers that also bought product immediately. So all these guys are getting paid, and the fire's burning up. Now, here's a way it might play out, and this is when it gets fun. And this will be my last illustration. Sometimes you'll get somebody who starts off, and they'll do $250, so distributorship and the AdvoCare 24-day challenge. They do $250. They come to a mixer. They really don't have the income maybe to start off at a higher discount, but they're willing to go to work, and you've spelled out the action plan with them. They introduce you to somebody here, okay, that maybe just does $100, but they enroll. This person also introduces you to somebody else. Now, here's the key. We're not looking to create more work as the leader. Okay, what we're not telling you is how, just basically look over every single person all the time. What we're really looking to do is find the next person who will duplicate the same exact process. And when you do that, that's when things take off. So let's say we're down here. What can happen sometimes, it happens a lot of times. I have a guy named Scott. who led me to Jen, who led me to Nate, who led me to someone else, and then Josh, and then I have Nancy. And so these are actual people in my organization. The numbers are imaginary for this. It's been a few years, but I want to give the example. Nancy comes in, does 1,000, gets started. Well, what happens is that 1,000 can count as long as each one of these persons has their 500 personal volume. It can count towards them working to a higher discount. What it does do automatically is it'll set each one of these persons at a 25% discount, with or without them ordering, because this is over 500. And if you master the discount levels, that'll make sense to you if it doesn't right now. But if you understand, over 500 retail gets a 25% discount, easy peasy. So 25% everybody goes to. Here's what I start doing in this district. Now, this may seem extreme to you. Let me make it, if you're brand new, something that you might be able to actually chew on and really think can happen for you. So we'll just we'll go 4 levels here. So you have you, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And if your sponsor is really helping you, this will happen. This is how we create momentum. We said, Scott, who else do you know? He introduced me to Jen. At which point I ask Jen, who else does she know that'd love to feel as good as she does? Or who else do you know that'll see this like you do? Because if they see it like you do and they see it like I do, we're going to take over this town. I tell you what. So who do you got that's fired up and will lock arms with you and plant your flag in this area? She introduced me to Nate, go down to Nancy. What I don't do is camp out with Scott and expect Scott to do all of this. He won't. So we're doing it. Nancy puts in 1,000. What I do next is I call Nate. I said, Nate, good news, man. That lady you introduced me to just bumped you up to a 25% discount. Can you believe that? He's like, what do you mean? I explain it. Then I let him know, hey, if we get your volume up from 100 to 500 before XYZ date, which is the end of that pay period, it'll put you in qualification to start working to a higher discount. So he bumps up to 500. Now I go up here to Jen and I start creating volume, because what happens now is all these people are fired up because they're getting paid and they're seeing that the system works. So I go to Jen, I say the same thing. Let's say that she does 500 as well. Now I call Scott and I let him know, Scott, you have 2250 towards your advisor level. Towards a 40%. I can't even believe it. These people underneath you, I tell you what, they see it like I see it, and if they see it like I see it, they're going to be taken off, and you want to make sure if they're going to be taken off that you're going to get a piece of that pie. So I tell you what, man, we got to get you to a 40%. Can I show you how to do it? He says, yes. I say, here's the thing I would do. I would knock this out. I'd tell him just to bump up, do the 1,000. He's now at a 40%. Then what happens is throughout the next pay periods, I have the action step of asking the people, who else do you know that'll see it like you do that we can talk to within the next 24 to 48 hours? Because I tell you what, if they see it like you and I see it, we're going to take this town over, I tell you. So I start working with them, and in doing so, I keep this process going. And hopefully, Nate introduces me to somebody, and somebody else, we start working them through advisor. What happens is we keep moving the ball down the field. If we can move the ball down the field, you will create a distributorship that will always have product flowing, and it will always have volume flowing. And as long as product's flowing, the income will come in from that. And so going back to what we said before, it's a whole lot of people using a little bit of product with a few key business builders in between. So I'll leave you with my initial things here, which is mindset, seed planting, vision painting. These two go together. Action. It all takes action. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You can get all the wisdom in the world. You can learn all of this. But if you don't take action and you don't make the call, if you got somebody that's at 450, it's your job to call them and let them know, hey, you're really close to getting the next discount level out. Would you want to know how to get that? You want to know how to get to a 25%. They say yes. Action. Set it in action. I hope this was helpful. I hope the format was really well. If you commented and told me anything in there, I haven't looked at it. I've been looking at the camera. I'll check it. Everybody have a good night. Take care. God bless. We'll see you later.